Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. You're joining us in video number 2 of a series of 3. We're going to make this fun fold card. I just think that this one's so cool. You're going to flip and then flap, and there's your greeting. Isn't that cool? Give a real 3D effect, which I love with these new wave dies. You can do the 3D wave effect with the dies. We've almost got like a 4D thing going on here. The 3D effect on the clouds. Look at that cool detail with the dimension. And this fun fold, I think, really just highlights how cool this die set is. So let's get started. If you purchase $80 using the host code, I suggest for that $80 that you purchase the Waves of the Ocean collection. That's our featured products here. It's 161797, and use the host code for your purchase. I'm going to send you a gift with purchase make and take packet. Now this make and take packet is going to go straight to the address that you have on file with Stampin' Up for your mailing address. So check that before you order. And then when you use the host code, that tells me to mail you a packet. All right, so that's how that works. Just place your order, use the host code. I see your order with the host code and pop the packet in the mail to you. In the packet, you're gonna find this Waves of the Ocean Designer Series paper. Now we've already done project number 1. This is totally awesome card. This was my sample. This is the one we did in video number 1. I'll link that below the video for you. Isn't that cool? The different, the different feel you can get using the different pieces from Waves of the Ocean paper. So we're gonna take this scraps. This is the ones from the last video. I'm gonna hold on to these, and then look at these. They're hand poured paint. Stampin' Ups and house designers poured the paint. They did the messy wet paint part for you, dried, and turned it into this cool designer series paper. Each piece has its own characteristic, and you will get one of each design in 6x6 in your kit. So we need a piece to die cut our tag and a piece to punch our sun. Let's go ahead and do that just right now off the bat while we've got this. I'm going to use a 1.5 inch circle punch for my sun, and I think I'd like to use this piece. I wonder if it's big enough. Let's see. We're gonna be flat on one side. Let's go ahead and grab this guy and punch a piece out. 1.5 inch circle. If you want to use a layering circles dies, it's a current product, you'd have to do 1 5/8, but I'm using that retired punch. Makes everything easy. And now this little tag is also cut from the designer series paper, so we're going to do that. I'm using the Quiet Meadow bundle. This is my wingman bundle for this project. This is on sale this month for 20% off. We're using the speckle in the background behind our waves, so we're using the stamps, and we're going to use the little tag die from this set. So if you don't have this one, you can pick it up on sale right now. If you have the ornate frames dies, or the bouquet set that I loved from a couple years ago, those both have little tags in it too. Or you can clip the corners off a little rectangle piece if you wanted to. Those are some alternatives. I'm going to go ahead and choose a place in the designer series paper that I want to see my tag cut from. And I want some of these lighter blue area here. Let me grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and we'll give that a crank. We're going to do a little bit of die cutting here, so we might as well run as many in one pass as we can. You know how much I love that. I think it's winning when you can get all your die cutting for a project done in one pass. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to add our little tag on the designer series paper. And then I'm going to go in my kit here. Let me show you what it includes. So it's got your card bases for your project. Set those aside. There's Sahara Sand and Pool Party. I'll give you some measurements in just a minute. You've got some Coastal Cabana scraps. That's for your waves. So let's go ahead and throw one of those on there for a minute. One aside. And then got some Early Espresso. That's for our birds. Let's pop that on there. Basic white. I recommend that you take the basic white that's in your packet, if you've got the packet, and cut it in half. Otherwise, just grab a scrap. We're going to run the background of the clouds. These are all from the waves dies now, except for the tag. I'm going to pop those on. And the birds from the waves dies. our coastal cabana piece, we're going to make this super easy for ourselves. I've got the adhesive sheets here. We're going to put a little adhesive on the back of that coastal cabana so it's scored on the back. You just lift up a couple of panels here. I'm going to go all the way across with this one. I think it'll work out well that way. Peel that down and just drop your coastal cabana cardstock right on the adhesive here. Cover that up and cut it away. Just knocked one of my clouds off. Stay there, guys. So we can cut off the excess here. When you use the adhesive sheets, you want to take this release piece, throw that away, and put cardstock up. And we're going to add the wave over the top. There's two different waves in this collection, and I like this card to showcase both of them. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. One has kind of one big curl, and the other one has two smaller curls. I'm going to go ahead and use this one with the, well, let's do it the same. I'm going to use this one with the one big curl. I'm going to just pop that on our scrap. All right, so now we've got a whole bunch of die cutting we can do in one pass. Okay, so we give that a crank, and here's our cool little tag. I love how you just get to pick out exactly what piece of that pattern you want to highlight. We've got birds. Let's pop them aside with the tag. Don't lose your birds. And then the background of the two clouds. Set those aside. And our wave. Now the wave is really cool. And now it's all self-adhesive too. So you can hold on to this piece. This will be good for another project. You've already got the adhesive on. So don't throw that away. Save that one. And here's our two-piece wave. Now we're concerned with the outline. So we're going to weed out all this negative space here. But if you wanted to hold on to these, they're self-adhesive. You could cut the wave out of another color, say Pacific Point or Night of Navy, maybe the silver foil. Then you could piece these little already self-adhesive pieces back into the outline in a contrasting color and have a very easy way to do an inlay effect. So just keep that in mind. It's another technique, kind of a bonus tip, but this is the piece that we're concerned about. So we're gonna swipe these off and either save them for another project or throw them away. With the self-adhesive pieces, it's really easy to do that inlay technique. So if you just put those in a bag, then you could just pick and stick for the other inlays. All right, we're gonna do the dimensional part for our clouds next. And that's going to require a different adhesive sheet. This time we've got the foam adhesive sheets. These are dimensional adhesive sheets. They're gonna make the details of our cloud peel and stick and raised like that for a three-dimensional look. We've got that other piece of our basic white. We're gonna do just like with the adhesive sheet. Peel. Add that to the adhesive and cover it back up and then trim it away. Now this is trash. This is your cardstock that goes face up on your die cut machine. And we've got these little details. Pop those on and let's give it a crank. With the dimensional adhesive, you might want to go through the machine and then back again, just so that you're sure to get through all of that material. Get that out of the way. Let's bring back the clouds. So there's the background layer, both sizes. Take the dies, set them aside, and then you can peel and stick the little dimensional details. Just line that up, and there's one. And I'll do this other one. Same way. Now don't throw this away. This is good for another pass. You can also cut this up, put adhesive on this side, peel and stick this side, and use it just like dimensional. So use every bit of this. Don't throw any away. There's our cool 3D clouds. Isn't that fun? All right, next up, we're going to stamp our wave and layer it. Let me show you the inside of our card here. So we've got our peel and stick, the dimensional details of the wave. Now we're going to stamp another one. So grab that other piece of Coastal Cabana and the wave stamp from the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. We're going to, I first ink the stamp and then stamp on the grid paper. Then I know exactly where to put my cardstock. Let's throw an ink pad underneath here. We're going to ink the wave with Coastal Cabana and stamp color on color. Coastal Cabana will dry a little bit lighter, so don't be surprised. It's going to be a little deep. There's our stamp texture. Now wait till you see how easy this is. In the first video, we used liquid glue for this, and that works fine, especially if you've got a steady hand and you're a good liquid gluer. But if you're not, if you don't love the liquid glue, if you're kind of make a mess, this is the adhesive for you. And just peel off the backer. It's going to come off in 3 parts. It was scored across the back, remember? So just, and you don't need to pick, you don't need fingernails, nothing. Just rub the pad of your thumb against the side of the die, and the liner just rolls away, or where it's scored, just roll. It just peels away. It's super simple. It's a really awesome product. I'm gonna line up the details on top of the stamped image and then burnish down. Then we're gonna cut this out to really get a dimensional effect when we lay it over our pool party background. So I'm gonna cut along the edge. You'll feel the raised edge along the blade of your scissor, and just turn the cardstock with your non-dominant hand while you open and close the scissors with your dominant hand. And I say there's no prize for cutting it out all in one piece. So cut away the excess so it's easier to get in there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, we're almost there. That raised edge of that detailed die cut really makes it pretty easy to cut out. There's our wave. Isn't that cool? Already we're getting so much dimension with the stamping and then the raised details. That's this wave. Now we're going to bring our silver foil and the other wave. Let's go ahead and cut this one out. No adhesive on this one because it's going to need to be free to open. You'll glue your card closed here, so don't put the adhesive sheet on your foil, just on your Coastal Cabana. You grab the machine and run that through. Doesn't that look cool? It's really fantastic in foil. And again, save these to inlay them if you want to. 2 of these makes a really cute heart. You see that? Can you imagine it? So hold on to those little pieces, and also hold on to this. This foil is great for another small die cut project. Right, so there's our foil wave. Now while I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here, we're going to work on the base, the first base, the Sahara Sand. So the Sahara Sand base is a hot dog card. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And if you've got the kit, that's what you've got here. I'm going to just reinforce this fold with a bone folder. Now I'm going to open up the card, lay it on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm bringing in the stitch rectangle die. I think this is the second from the largest. I have my chart and I'll show you in just a minute. But I'm going to lay this in the front window and just make sure I have an even right, left, top, and bottom border. A little bit of low tack tape will help keep that in place when you cut. We're going to go ahead and cut the window in the front of our card. Now if you don't have the stitch rectangle dies, you can use the current products. You can use the scallop contours or the Stitch So Sweetly rectangles to make your window. You can also use your paper trimmer to cut out the window. I love the stitch rectangles though, because they not only stitch the rectangle, but they also leave the window stitched too, which is pretty cool. Please hold on to this piece. This is going to line the inside of your card, so don't throw that away. Keep that one. Let's go ahead and bring in the second part of our card. So this is standard. It's 4 1/4 by 11. scored at 5.5. Let me grab my rectangle chart here and I'll show you which one I used. So this is the stitched rectangle dies. And we're not going to use that biggest or that second biggest one. This one's actually C. So the opening would be 4 3/8 by 3 if you're doing that with the trimmer. And that's that die set. All right, then inside there, we're gonna have a pool party card that opens the opposite way and nests inside. Grab a bone folder and we'll reinforce this. So this one is 4 inches by 10.5, and we scored at 5 1/4. Now you can see that awesome stitching. We did that for you if you've got the kit. We wanted to show you this die set. This is the Stitched with Whimsy dies. And to really show you in action, me and my team of awesome helpers went ahead and stitched your cards for you so that you could see the awesome effect that they get. So if you're cutting your own, then you'll want to take your second largest from the Stitched with Whimsy, pop that on, centered, and run this through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. The Stitched with Whimsy die set is a 6 die set, and it does lots of different size rectangle and square stitched details. It's a really nice, that's a nice detail. We're gonna do just like we did in video number 1, but what you have to remember here is that this is gonna open on the right hand side, which feels a little bit unnatural, but you don't want to build your card upside down. So keep that fold on the right hand side. We're gonna bring in a mask, a blending brush, craft white ink, and then let me grab a mini grid paper so we can protect our surface. Got my mini grid paper. My mask came from the Basic Patterns decorative masks, and you can get these. They're still available in the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. If you've got a different set of masks, that's just fine. What you're looking for is to put a soft effect in the background that almost looks like clouds. We're using craft ink, so you go ahead and press the brush into the ink pad. The craft ink is kind of sticky. You've seen me before with dye ink, and you just tap so that you don't overload the brush. Because of the difference in this ink, its viscosity, it's very thick ink, you can go ahead and press in. You want to get some of that sticky white ink on the brush, and then you'll bring it to your stencil and apply it to the card front in kind of a circular motion, working the ink into the openings. You're going to take all that excess ink that's deposited onto the stencil and use the brush to move the ink into the openings. Just hold it down. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to look like wind or clouds. It's subtle. You could tape it down if you wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary for the effect that we're going for. Keep holding the mask and then lift and take a look. If you like the effects, then you're good. If not, you can flap it back down and then work in any problem areas to finish it up. And there you go. So it's very subtle. But once we layer it with the waves and the stamping, the sun and the birds, it's going to look really cool. And bring our sample back in so you can see what we're making. We've got a really cool 3D effect here. So at this point, we can go ahead and adhere. Well, let's do our spray first. So you got like a sea spray effect here. So let's do that first, and then we're going to glue the smaller card into the larger card. For the spray, I've got my Quiet Meadow stamp set, and I'm just use the spray, the spatter image. You can use any spatter that you have. We're going to pop onto our small grid paper because we're going to do Coastal Cabana on Pool Party, but we're going to go second generation so that it's not quite as intense. If you want to, you can dry fit your wave so you can see where that's going to land, and then do your stamping around. So we're going to stamp off, and then we can move that wave. And we're going to add the second generation spatter. Don't forget to stamp off. The intensity will be really strong if you go full strength on one of these. All right, I think I'm pretty happy. Maybe a little bit more up high over here. And that's it. So we got a little sea spray going on. Close this guy up before I stick my finger in it or my project in it. Get it out of the way. You can use a dry adhesive for this. I'm gonna go ahead with liquid glue. I'm gonna go edge to edge here, and then a little bit in the center. And then we're gonna glue it right inside, one card inside of the other with the folds on the opposite sides. Open it up, burnish it down. Then while we're at it, we can go ahead and add our wave with liquid glue also. We're really building that dimension. We've got the sea spray, and then the stamped wave, the detailed die cut on top of that. It's all on top of that cool stenciling that we did. All right, got our silver foil wave, and I think we can go ahead and add that one next. And we want it so that it'll line up with the wave underneath. So first dry fit, then you're gonna add adhesive just on the bottom two and up the sides of the wave just a little bit. So really get a good idea where your adhesive is gonna go before you add it. And then we're gonna put some liquid glue. When you do liquid glue on this, you wanna squeeze the bottle while streaking across. Less is more. Go up the side a little bit here, and then this second wave here. It really doesn't take much. You don't want to slide it around too much either here, because you'll streak liquid glue and make your card sticky. So aim well and then press. Now at this point, I'll turn my card, I'll lift, and then we can go higher here where we know for sure this silver foil is going to get glued to the Sahara sand card base below. Kind of a two-step glue process will help you be more precise. And there is the cool 4D wave. Now I want to show you the Coastal Cabana foil is the one that I used on my sample. Here's the silver. Now there's 3 colors in this new foil pack. This is available while supplies last. It won't be carrying into the annual catalog. These blue foils are 6 sheets, 2 of each color. There's the Coastal Cabana, silver, and there's also Night of Navy. So when you get your make and take packet, you might have foil in any one of those 3 colors for your project. I think we should do our pelican next. Let's go ahead and stamp and color. Set these aside. Actually, we'll set it aside this way so you can see what we're making. I've got Early Espresso, my pelican. This is a scrap of Sahara sand. We're going to stamp on, and then we'll color with watercolor pencils and a chalk marker. Got the Stampin' Up chalk marker, Early Espresso, Daffodil Delight, Basic White, and Basic Gray watercolor pencils. We're gonna do our bird and our pylons first, because we're gonna watercolor these, and then we're gonna do dry details with the Daffodil Delight and the Basic Gray. So I'm gonna do a good solid white for bird's head. And then I'm going to kind of scribble the white, still getting a good solid coat, but kind of avoiding some of the feather details that are stamped in Early Espresso. So it's not a solid coat. We're going to kind of just scribble in. And for the pylons, we'll do the Early Espresso, but we're just going to do a light application. These pigments are going to melt and give us a much deeper wood color when we use the water brush on them. So just a light coat. Now with the aqua painter, it'll just melt that watercolor pencil, and it really brings all those pigments out. Avoid the little ropes, but make sure you get in between them. And you want to clean off your brush. I'm just going to use the scrap here. We're going to cut this out. Make sure your water runs clear, and then you can swipe over the white a little bit, it's going to melt the early espresso ink into the white pigment just a little bit, and that's okay. It'll give our bird kind of a feathery look. That's kind of cool. We can take the Daffodil Delight and color the beak. Just get a good solid cover there, and same with the basic gray for the ropes. We're not gonna watercolor this. We're just doing it like a color pencil. Get kind of a mixed media effect that way. All right, last step. We're gonna add some chalk marker to our bird. We'll go over the head and really get that strong kind of glowy white opaque, and then just dab on the body so you get really good texture on your bird. Let's give this a second to dry. Bring in that reserved stitched rectangle and your early espresso ink again. I've got your strength is an inspiration, one of the greetings from the Waves of Inspiration bundle. That Waves of Inspiration bundle will carry into the next catalog, but all the accessory items that I'm using in this kit, the foil, the designer series paper, and the gems, those are while supplies last only. I'm going to bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we've got our little pelican die here. Let's go ahead and cut that guy out. I love that. So convenient. There's our bird with the pylons. Put some dimensionals on the back of that. Nope, inside the card this time. We're going to liquid glue that. So let's go ahead and get our pieces. We punched that sun at the beginning. We've got our bird. Let's do these. I'm going to put the liquid glue on both of these at the same time so I can kind of slide them a bit if I need to. Our sample. Let's open it up wide. Bird. It's going to go over the waves a bit, but then we want to close the window and make sure we like the placement. Then we're going to slide the sun underneath, close the window, make sure we like the placement. I think my sun's a little bit high on this one. So we didn't burnish anything down, so we can slide everything just a little bit before we go ahead and adhere. Isn't that cool? I love that. All right, now we're gonna do a little bit more stamping. We've got the birds in the background. We've got our die cut birds, and we're gonna do the stamp birds, which I would think adds to that 3D, 4D effect that we're building. Our birds are early espresso, and we're gonna do 2 in the sky here. And then 1 flying off into the distance on the outside here. Now let's get our clouds and our birds. We've got 2 birds, kind of a wide open one and one that's a little bit more pointy. Going to put 1 outside, inside, kind of on the sun, but we're gonna lay them all out before we glue them down. We'll put our cloud, our bigger cloud. Get everything where you like it, and then add your glue. We're going to dry fit everything. All right, I like the placement there. So I'm going to do liquid glue. This one you're going to be really careful. It might even be better if you put a little bit of liquid glue on the frame, and then bring your cloud to the glue. You don't want to glue the card closed. And then this dude. Don't know why I'm struggling. I've got tools. Use your take your pick tool. Pick up the bird, dot the glue, deposit the bird. I don't know why I always forget about that and struggle. All right, another bird. Pick it up. There. That didn't sell you on the take your pick tool. I don't know what will. It's a really awesome tool. Little glue. Deposit your bird. And then a little bit of glue on your cloud. There it is. When I say what is a card without some ribbon and bling? So let's go ahead and glue our message inside and embellish outside. We're gonna flip and then flap. I'm gonna glue that right in the center. I love the double use. We got the window on the outside that gives us this great 3D effect, and then still use that piece on the inside to finish up, add some more detail. last thing, you've got a Calypso Coral heart that was in your kit if you've got the kit. The kit is cut for you. We use the Sweet Hearts dies, but you can use whatever little heart you have if you're cutting your own kit. Here's your little tag. We're going to put a dimensional. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in just like I showed you. So here's this little bit that's left from our clouds. Don't let any of this go. We're going to take a piece out and cut it. Now you got this little peel and stick. I'm going to add that on the back of the dimensional, or on the back of the heart. And then a drop of glue on the cardstock. So it works like any dimensional adhesive that you have. You just have to add a little bit of glue to the side that had the cardstock. So it really is valuable adhesive. Don't throw it away. See, now we got that dimension. Let that dry for a second. While that's drying, we're going to go back to our kit and grab the white frayed ribbon. We got this piece. This is going to be for our third project, but this cutoff that we had from the first project, you want to go ahead and loop that. And let me get some ribbon scissors. All right, we're going to cut opposite angles on this little piece, and then use some of our twine. You've got about a yard here. You're going to use about 1/3 of a yard or a foot for each piece. If you can tie right off of the card, you might have a little extra. You're going to go ahead and tie a length of this around the ribbon. So you got a little loop. You can cut it away from the card here at this point. Slide the tag and tie the tag. Now, if you've got any dexterity issues here and you're like, oh, this is flapping all around, here's what you're going to do. Grab a piece of dimensional. I'm going to go 1/2 a dimensional. Put it on your tag. Place your tag on the frame of your card. Make sure you don't glue your card closed. Check your adhesive placement from the inside. Burnish that down. Now you can tie that bow and you've got the whole card to use as leverage. Keep that ribbon and tag in place. You can cut the tail, and I'm going to grab our gems. Got a glue dot, and I'm going to take your pick tool, pick up a glue dot, put it underneath the ribbon, and last we'll embellish, and we'll have our little gems kind of bubble up from the wave. One of each size is what I did here. And there is our cool 3D like shadow box card. Isn't that cool? Here's the silver foil and some of the Night of Navy or Pacific Point gems. Here's the Coastal Cabana with Coastal Cabana gems. Depending on what designer series paper you pick, you're going to get a little bit different, a little bit more customized results. What do you think? All right, you guys, if you missed video number 1, check out the link below where we made this totally awesome card. And I will be back with video number 3 in this series tomorrow, where we'll make this fun box-elope treat. Isn't that cool? All right, if you've got questions about the project or how to get the Make and Take packet, email marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. If you're going to order the Waves of the Ocean collection, go to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net and use the host code, and I will send you the Make and Take packet free and automatically. All right, you guys, if you got any questions, reach out. I'll see you in video number 3. Thanks for watching.